I pledge allegiance to Yahwah Almighty, who has blessed the constitutional republic of the United States, and to that republic, for which those gorgeous red, white, and blue stars and stripes stand, one nation under our only God Yahwah, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, I've put our Pledge of Allegiance in its proper perspective. I surely did. You know, it's been changed before. Yes, it's been changed before. Under God never used to be in it. And our children were taught to do like a Hail Hitler type sign as they're reciting it. And I guess Eisenhower had a little bit of a conviction and he added under God. But let me ask you a question before I get into what y'all will give me this morning. Do we pledge allegiance to a piece of cloth? Or, now I don't mean to sound irreverent about that. I'm totally respectful of our flag. However, who was the one that gave us breath to respect and honor our nation, our beautiful nation that he gave us to live in? And the flag represents the nation that Yahweh allowed us to live in. And this is a wonderful thing. This is a good thing. This is not showing disrespect to our Pledge of Allegiance. We just put it in its proper perspective. Simple. Remember, Psalm 33:12, I believe it is, says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is Yahweh." Yeah. Blessed is the nation whose God is Yahweh. And this is the nation that Yahweh has chosen to bless for this time. And it looks like he's having to put a spanking on her because of things and stuff and all the things that's been allowed. Yet I have watched Almighty Yahweh raise up a Cyrus. Yeah, sure has. Donald J. Trump raised him up. John F. Kennedy Jr. surely did. Yahweh's raised these men up with a powerful military since the time of our President Kennedy. And it's taken them all these years to go through a correction process. And I'm so thankful. And some of you might disagree because, he's this or he's that. Well, why don't you read? Well, I encourage you to read Isaiah chapter 45. Isaiah chapter 45 says that he chose Cyrus. In Hebrew, it's known as Koresh. Yahweh chose a Cyrus, called him his anointed, said he took him by the right hand, and let him find hidden treasures in abundance. Said that this Cyrus had integrity for humanity. That's why Yahweh chose someone to expose the vile, filthy, evil darkness that has infiltrated this entire earth. And Yahweh will use this man, both of these men, and the powerful military behind it that's been working behind the scenes for years to bring down satanic organizations. Is it any wonder that Yahweh told us to pray for kings and those in authority that we might live a quiet and a peaceable life? Where are we in our prayer time? Do we even bother to pray for these kings or our President Trump or John F. Kennedy Jr. or John F. Kennedy Sr. or anybody who's done anything worth the good of humanity that has some kind of a scriptural integrity and ethics for humanity? That we might live a quiet and a peaceable life? Do we think to pray for them on a daily basis? Well, that could kind of fit in with what y'all will give me this morning. So I put our Pledge of Allegiance in its proper perspective. That's it. I pledge allegiance to Yahweh Almighty. He's the one who allowed me to live in this nation. who is really free now. We might have to go through a little turbulence, but Yahweh has a reason for everything. It's to help Jacob, Yaakov, the real Yaakov, the real Jacob, the real people of Yahweh who truly serve him in spirit and in truth. Okay, back to this morning. I was praying. In my prayer time this morning, it was so sweet. It was just sweet. And I appreciate Yahweh. He doesn't have to give us anything. He doesn't have to woo us to come to him first thing in the morning in prayer. It's just a natural habit because of the two words that Yahweh put in my spirit while I was praying. What is it to be kindly affectioned? And these are the words that I want to put access on. Kindly affectioned. This is what Yahweh gave me this morning, those two words. And of course, we all know the verse that it goes to, but before I ever get anywhere close to that verse, I want to lay a little groundwork about these two words when I was praying early this morning. You know, it's just amazing how his presence can just sweetly appear through his precious word at any unforeseen time. And this is joy. He doesn't have to visit us in any way. He doesn't have to pay attention to us. You stop and think. We are a little speck of dust in a vast universe. Have you ever seen in a window the sunlight that comes through, and you might see little teeny itty-bitty particles of dust? Well, we're probably less than that in a vast universe. And you think that our Almighty Yahweh, our Daddy in heaven, pays attention and hears and answers that little bitty teeny tiny speck flake of dust. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Our Yahweh is powerful. He's mindful if we keep that relationship tight. So, needless to say, I started off with the word affection. And I broke it down from the Hebrew using various scripture verses. So the first place that I found this word affection was in 1 Chronicles 29:3. I'm going to read the complete Jewish Bible first. It says, "In addition, because my desire is set on the house of my El, or my God, since I have my own supply of gold and silver, I herewith give it to the house of my God, over and above everything I have prepared for the holy house." Now, the complete Jewish Bible uses the word desire for affection here, because the King James Version says this, "Moreover, because I have set my affection," complete Jewish Bible used desire. "Because I have set my affection to the house of my God, I have my own proper good of gold and silver, which I have given to the house of my God, over and above all that I have prepared for the holy house." Notice, the love and affection goes toward Yahweh Almighty first. That's why we can say, "I pledge allegiance to Yahweh Almighty, who has blessed the Constitutional Republic of the United States." This is so easy. This is easy. This is not irreverent. We are kindly affectioned toward the one that gave us breath first. Who gets your first conversation in the morning? Is it the dog? Is it the cat? Is it your wife? Is it your husband? Of course, I'm not supposed to be teaching men. Actually, I speak to the Constitutional Republic of the United States as a woman. But as an aged woman, I teach the younger women. So I speak to this company of listeners as a woman of the nation of the Constitutional Republic of the United States. So we see that the affection, our first love, goes to the one that gave us breath, Yahweh Almighty. So the meaning of affection in the Hebrew, it's pronounced ratzah. And it means to be pleased with, be favorable to, accept favorably. To be pleased with, it repeats it. To accept, it gets to be determined. To make acceptable, to please, to seek favor of, to make oneself acceptable or pleasing. So this affection is not some kind of perverted, filthy trash. You understand? So don't get trash-minded. I'm talking about affection from a heart deep within, of appreciation, of wanting to be favorable to. And as a woman, this is how we should be toward our husband. This is how we should be and keep ourselves presentable, keep ourselves favorable. We don't want to look like the old goat milker when the husband comes home, do we? No. We don't want to smell like a goat either, do we? No, we surely don't. We want to remain kindly affectioned, to keep the honeymoon rolling. I remember a man years ago. He would ask my deceased husband and I. He would say, "Is the honeymoon over?" And I'd look at him crazy. I said, "What are you talking about? Is the honeymoon over?" Well, I guess he knew that the verse that says, if you marry, you shall have trouble in the flesh, right? Yeah, we shall have trouble in the flesh. But there's one thing about it. If you've got a loving relationship with Yahweh, ladies, you're going to make your flesh do the right thing to make yourself favorable to your husband. Whether he favors you or not, you can be favorable to Yahweh. If your husband never favors you, and this is where you can be in the Ruach, in the Holy Spirit. You can be favorable to Yahweh if you're not favorable to a man who doesn't treat you right. All right. Here's a verse with the word affectionately, okay? It's 1 Thessalonians 2:8. And I'm reading from the Complete Jewish Bible. It says, "We were so devoted to you that we were glad to share with you not only God's good news, but also our own lives, because you had become very dear to us." You know, that's what happens in a marriage. Before the marriage, you are friends, and you love, and you become dear one to another. Okay, KJV reads for the same verse. This is 1 Thessalonians 2:8. "So being affectionately desirous of you, we were willing to have imparted unto you not the gospel of God only, or the gospel of Elohim only, but also our own souls, because you were dear to us." Now, these men are teaching the word of Yahweh. They're sharing the word of Yahweh through a love letter to the assembly, as the assembly should be with our Yahweh, who became our Mashiach Yahweh. He wants us to feel dear to Him. He wants us to be joined as one soul to Him. And that's the way it is with a marriage. You're one soul. One unit, for one purpose. And what's the one purpose while we live? To obey Yahweh and keep His commandments. That's the whole duty of man, or for us women. To obey Yahweh and keep His commandments. This is simple stuff, isn't it? It's not hard. Human beings make this hard because they add to and take away from the word of Yahweh. It's a shame. So the meaning from this verse that I just read in Thessalonians is to desire or long for, the longing of love, the longing of affection. It doesn't say the longing of lust. Get your mind out of the trash can again, please. We're talking about love. We're talking about kindly affection. A friendship, ladies, in a marriage, a friendship. A caring deep within your spirit, wanting to be favorable to that man, wanting to find favor in Yahweh first, because He's our first love, and then our husbands. But when Yahweh is our first love, our first heartthrob, our husband is automatically going to fall in line as our second heartthrob. So let's go to Romans, Complete Jewish Bible, for kindly affection. And this is what got it all started in my prayer. I just saw those little words. I just saw them when I was praying. I was kind of in the middle of my prayer again, and I just saw those two little words, and I thought, oh, how sweet. Yahweh, I believe that you're kindly affection toward me because I'm kindly affection toward you. And this is what Complete Jewish Bible says. It says, love each other devotedly and with brotherly love, and set examples for each other in showing respect. King James reads, be kindly affectioned one to another. Okay, notice that the Complete Jewish Bible said, love each other devotedly. That was the Complete Jewish Bible said, love each other devotedly. But Romans in KJV reads, be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love, in honoring, preferring one another. Now, he's talking about within an assembly, within a body of believers, to be kindly affectioned. Now, we know siblings can get into it and tie up, right? If you're a mom and you got children, the siblings can probably duke it out real quick, right? They surely can. But as children, as innocent children, when the argument's over and the squabbling's over, they're playing together. They're playing together. Think about that one. And this is the way we should be. If we squabble with brothers and sisters in the spirit, we're supposed to get it right, quick. And if you squabble with your husband, get it right quick. And make yourself favorable in his sight again. Whether he's favorable or not, you do the right thing, ladies. You do the right thing, because Yahweh is your first love. Yahweh is your first love. Isn't that sweet? Be kindly affectionate one to another in brotherly love, or love each other devotedly. This is the way it should be in a marriage. You love each other devotedly because you're friends, because you're one body. And we wouldn't hurt our own body deliberately, would we? No. We would nourish our body with that which is good and wholesome and healthy. This is good. I love this study. I've been hours in this today, off and on. Okay, so the meaning of affection in the above verse that I read was Romans 12:10. And this meaning is the mutual love of parents and children and wives and husbands, loving affection, prone to love, loving tenderly, chiefly of the reciprocal tenderness of parents and children. We're supposed to be tenderhearted. You just hug your children. You want to hug your husband, the one that you love. I heard an example given years ago. When you hold a baby, you hold the baby to your bosom. In your bosom. And that's the way it's to be in a marriage. I heard some things mentioned this past weekend about hugs. It's about companionship. It's about devotedness. It's like when you put the one that you love in your bosom and you hold them tightly. If it's a child, if it's your husband. For you guys, it's for your wife. If it's your wife. It's a oneness, bosomly affectionate love of friendship, of devotedness, because you first love Yahwah. And everything else just falls in line. And the love just flows. And that affection is just naturally there for what is good, for what is wholesome, for what is right. Think about it. It's wholesome. It's a devotedness. It's a tenderness. It's a bosomly hug. You love and hold the child in your bosom. You hold your husband to your bosom in your heart because your heart is tender towards your family. Towards your family. So here's the meaning. By the way, this is a root meaning. I just read you the meaning of the Romans 12 and 10. But this mutual love or this tenderness also has a root word, and it's so beautiful. The root word for affection was what I just read about the tenderness between children and husbands and wives. But the root word is friend. To be friendly to one, wish them well, or to a brother and sister. One of the bridegroom's friends on the behalf who's asked the hand of the bride. This is a marriage. This is a marriage in Yahweh. This is a marriage of holiness because we put Yahweh first in our hearts. We have a loving, tender relationship with Yahweh Almighty, which gives us a loving tenderness for our second best friend. Yahweh is our first best friend, but our second best friend, ladies, is our husband. And our children just fall right in line. And we hold them to our bosom. We hold our husband to our bosom. We hold our children to our bosom. And we hold our sisters in the spirit. We hug them because we love them. So all of the above meanings are of a purity. It manifests from a heart of tenderness. And this brings me to a very important word. Love. The real word love. Not lust. Get your face, get your mind, get your nose out of the filth. We're talking about a purity here. This word love. It's the word used in Genesis 29 and 20. From the Complete Jewish Bible, it reads, Yaakov, or Jacob, had fallen in love with Rachel, or Rachel, and said, I will work for you 7 years in exchange for Rachel, your younger daughter. Now, this is Yaakov speaking to Rachel's daddy. It says in Genesis, King James, it reads, and Jacob loved Rachel and said to her father, he said, I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. And it goes on to say in verse 20, this is verse 18 I read, I'm skipping down to 20, it says, so Yaakov, or Jacob, worked 7 years for Rachel, and it seemed only a few days to him, because he was so much in love with her. He was kindly affectionate toward her. He was kindly affectioned toward her. And nothing passed between them. They did not come together until they were rightfully married as husband and wife. It is good for a man not to touch a woman. I'm talking about in a carnal way. I know that it can be done. My deceased husband and I, it can be done. We did not hold hands nor kiss till the night we were married, and we were in our 20s. And it can be done. It surely can. Now, he'd come by and tap me on the shoulder or, kind of tap me on the back or something like that, but it was never holding hands. It was never smooching. Not till we saved ourselves, because Yahweh had so greatly delivered us from a life of darkness, and He gave us a life of purity. And this is the way it can be in a marriage. When you put Yahweh first, You are kindly affectioned in a righteous love, a righteous affection, in such a way that here is Jacob or Yaakov. He was willing to work 7 years for Rachel. He was willing to work. I believe there's a place, ish, for husband. I think that gets into the word servant, if I'm not mistaken. It mentions servant along with the male gender husband, as opposed to the female gender wife. And it calls the husband, ish, a servant. And isn't that what the husband does? He labors. He works hard to provide for his family, or he should work hard. If he doesn't, he's worse than an infidel. Shame. But you wives don't need to be a lazy bum at home, sitting around eating Hershey Kisses and bonbons and stupidness like that, getting old fat and sassy. You need to keep yourself for your husband. Keep yourself attractive. Don't put on piggy weight. Look, I'm sure we can all lose about 10 or 15 pounds. I'm working on mine. I stay working on mine. But seriously, you keep yourself favorable for your husband. Which gets us on down here into some blood covenant verses. Let's talk about Ephesians 5 and 25. Let's read 25. I'll read 28 and 29 and 33. I'm going to skip verses here, not to be getting out of line and getting out of context, but this is important. It says, as for husbands, it sounds like I'm teaching the men, but I'm really not. I've got an example that I'm going to read here. As for husbands, love your wives just as Mashiach loved the assembly, indeed gave himself up on its behalf. Now, think about that. He's comparing the love that Yahweh has for his people. Now, I'm talking about his people called by his name, who are obedient to his word. And look, he's not willing that any should perish. But if we're serving him with all of our heart, all of our mind, and we know that his name is Yahweh, and we're obedient to our Yahweh, who is our God and our Mashiach, then he's going to see about his own first. He's going to see about the obedient first. Yes, he will. Not that he doesn't care about the disobedient. He loves you so much. He loves the disobedient so much, he gives you a spanking. And he can give some hard ones. And we don't want that, do we? No. We want to remain kindly affectionate toward him first. And of course, I'm reading this verse, and it says, as for husbands, love your wives. This is a complete Jewish Bible. Just as Mashiach loved the assembly, indeed gave himself up on its behalf. King James reads, husbands, love your wives, even as Mashiach also loved his assembly and gave himself for it. So, we read on down to Ephesians 5 and 28, and it says, this is how husbands ought to love their wives like their own bodies. For the man who loves his wife is loving himself. Now we know that Mashiach would not hurt his own body. Other human beings did that because they were offended with him. But he had to come to be that merciful high priest to purchase us back to him. Yes, he had to purchase us back to him. And I'm kind of running out of time. I might have to do part 2 and kind of overlap this on the second part. So this concludes part 1. I'm going to stop here at what is it to be kindly affectioned. You know, humans have made Yahweh's word so hard, and they've made it perverted. They've changed things. When you go removing the name of Yahweh from his word, you got a problem. And Yahweh Almighty is definitely going to have a problem with you, because you'll probably have, whoever did this and whoever was responsible for this is probably already in the lake of fire, because this has been going on for centuries now. So ladies, until next time, may Yahweh richly encourage you to be kindly affectioned one toward another. Shalom.